Walk in the Cloud.
Everyone is talking about cloud these days, but are they talking sense? In this series, we're talking transformation from a practical point of view, offering advice and examples to the executives who want to harness the power of the cloud for their businesses. This is Ellen Bencard with a Walk in the Cloud. Today, we're talking about the engine room of any company, its people, and how HR leaders are deploying cloud. Our expert is Nicole Knott. Nicole, thanks for joining me today. Let's start out by you telling everybody who's listening what makes you an expert in this area.
Thanks, Ellen, so much for having me. I'm happy to be here. I'm a managing director leading in our HR consulting practice here in Accenture in London. I bring years of doing HR tech strategy, and transformations powered by the cloud. As part of my role, I've advised many CHROs, HR directors from across multiple Fortune 500 companies around the globe. And over the years, I've had the privilege of seeing the role of CHROs and the HR profession evolve through daily interactions. All of this is changing right in front of our very eyes.
It is definitely an area that's in the news right now and changing at high speed. Although many of our listeners might not think about that, because your average employee experience with HR is hiring, firing, hopefully not, and their benefits. So start by telling me about the kind of technologies and roles that forward-looking HR departments are using and playing, and what do they do for the business?
Forward-looking HR departments are adopting a data-driven mindset to hit the core needs of their people. This means they're using data to drive decision-making of innovation and investment areas. I guess when I think about the top three areas of focus around these, it's really, first, I would say about providing frictionless work experiences that provide exceptional employee experience. This translates to modern workplace tools like employee portals and collaboration tools. The second area would be around anticipating and planning for the future skills and talent needs of the organization. These are realized by technologies that provide a learning experience platform or a talent marketplace. And the third area is around driving inclusion and diversity and equality across the organization. This would be in hiring and in talent decisions and beyond.
Frictionless work experiences is interesting. It almost sounds like you're talking about an employee as a consumer.
Absolutely. And this is exactly the point. And this is what employees are expecting when they come into work. It used to be that we would come into work and have better technologies in the office than outside. But that has changed as, we can order something right now and get it delivered by the end of the day, even from an exceptional consumer-based experience. And that is where the bar is set for employees coming to work.
So how much of this change that you just talked about is happening in the cloud?
I'm going to be bold, Ellen, and say all of it, or at least all of the things that are truly forward-looking. Again, with a focus on data, the ability to take advantage of automation and capitalizing on the power of artificial intelligence and machine learning, all of that is rooted in cloud platforms. So when we talk about systems, they really have to translate into a living system. We talk about living systems as systems that are truly living and constantly evolving, where the greatest benefits can continue to be realized. For most organizations, it would be impossible for them to leap from that extreme from one extreme to another. So the extreme of having those clunky traditional hosting platforms to then the other extreme of everything cutting edge in the cloud. So organizations have to prioritize and deploy in chunks and or pilots that can then scale at pace to build that culture of digital adoption and the HR function building the momentum and credibility to deploy ongoing change.
And that is just a tremendously sophisticated role. How has this movement into the cloud changed things for HR?
I guess when really the role of HR function has certainly evolved, and particularly in the last 12 months. I think the CHROs have been in the limelight. They are, the board, the C-suite are looking to them, seeking their opinions on big topics like flexible working. What are our policies going to be like? Well-being, diversity, productivity, sustainability, and even on the real estate footprints. So there's no function better placed to answer these collection of topics than the HR function themselves. In fact, it's all about the people, and many CHROs have rebranded the HR function to name themselves the people function instead of we're not the human resources anymore. We're talking about people. And this means the HR profession has had to get a lot more digital fluent than ever before. And they've had to answer the call of being the employee experience champion and really thinking about what that means for the total organization.
And tell me about some of the actual successes you've seen. Now, I won't have you give me specific client names, but I know as part of Accenture, you are working with, lots of big forward-looking companies in the UK. So who's doing it right?
Well, I guess there's two stories that I wanted to share today with you. Is first, one client is really focused on driving the future skills agenda exceptionally. Really interestingly, integrating the power of multiple cloud technologies to deliver a truly transformational future skills agenda, unlike anyone else I've seen. And they're really in a position to do this, given they did the hard work of getting their core HR platform into the cloud and have been evolving that in that living system way the last several months as they've been live, but then now they're pivoting to partner with other niche players to deliver a learning experience platform and a talent marketplace that integrates with intention and is focused on that employee experience agenda. And the second example I'll give is one client really doubling down on an inclusion and diversity agenda in hiring, and specifically using niche technologies like Head Start to radically change the way that candidates are shortlisted by factoring in things like the socioeconomic backgrounds to level the playing field for the candidates that are shortlisted. The second, and then the same client, they're using a second technology partner with Capfinity to radically change the assessment process. So historically, people of women or ethnic diverse backgrounds will often get kicked out of the assessment process or kicked out of the selection process during the assessment piece because it's psychologically been proven that clock ticking down gives them more anxiety. So instead, Capfinity has a platform that is using a clock ticking up, and that immediately removes the anxiety that is often proven for people taking the assessment.
That is fascinating stuff, and it makes me think about a lot of news coverage we've seen through this past year of pandemic and a lot of the social problems that we've been coming to grips with. Do you think that the past year has been good or bad for these IND and talent challenges that HR departments are trying to solve?
I like to think of things with a silver lining, and in the sense that I do think that there is an opportunity that we have right now to level the playing field. So when it comes to inclusion and diversity, candidates, if you're looking with proximity to a physical office space, there is a limitation of the pool of candidates that are available in that geographical location. So right now, as the world has tested virtual working and blended teams, there is an opportunity to expand the geographical search into a time zone, which really opens up the door in terms of wider pools, talent pools.
Just fabulous stuff. What other challenges are out there for the CHROs?
I guess really the people agenda is just so powerful, and there's an unmatched momentum right now for change, and people are listening to the CHRO agenda more than ever. So current climate, that means it's time to accelerate the growth agenda to drive the transformations required by organizations to thrive going forward. And really, the function is really performing in exceptional ways right now, because they've never been so busy with BAU and responding to current needs of unprecedented times, and yet the CHRO is calling on their teams to create the future organizations. They're inspiring on their teams to dig deep to continue to deliver even more change at pace, or they're asking them to do this with limited capacity as and or capability, because they're inexperienced in some of these new cloud pieces, but they are really leaning on the reskilling agenda and being fast to start in on these new agendas. So I think certainly a big challenge of that is, as they're getting more familiar with the cloud agenda and the capabilities that are necessary to deliver against it, it's also them making sense of a very big market. So the HR tech ecosystems, something like a $22 billion market that they're needing to understand where's the right technology for us to invest in to help deliver against the strategic priorities of the organization that build on our existing HR ecosystem and give us a future-looking roadmap that we can continue to evolve and build upon.
As you describe this, I'm thinking that in my 30 years now in the corporate world, there's probably no other role that's changed as dramatically. I mean, when I started my first job, HR was not a sexy place to be. Sounds like you might be advising young and thrusting new starters that this is where they want to be.
Absolutely. I mean, there was a period of time when people would say, if I'm new in my career, would you advise them to go into HR? It was maybe not. But now absolutely the answer is yes, go into HR, because it is the heartbeat of the organization. And there's certainly this shift as HR looks to address some of the major changes addressing our lifetimes, really, in terms of what does the future of work look like, and what does the future workplace look like, and all of that is sitting on the CHRO's agenda.
So, final question for you today. You're the first podcast guest of mine who has also had a North American accent, and I wonder if you feel that your immigrant experience to the UK has given you a different perspective on your job.
Definitely. I think any opportunity, to experience and understand different cultures and to appreciate where people are coming from is truly unique. And I also spent time living in a country I didn't speak the language, and that was incredibly enlightening. And I think that it allows me to bring a different perspective to the table, and particularly for our global organizations who are looking for how things will land in different markets. I think that I can help bring that. So I like to think of it as an asset.
Great stuff. Nicole, thanks for joining me today. I could talk to you all day, but sadly we've come to the end of our walk.
Thank you so much for having me, Ellen, and I look forward to walking with you again soon.
Great. Take care. Bye-bye. Join us next time for the last episode in this first series of Walk in the Cloud. We'll be talking about the traditional owners of technology, the Chief Technology Officer and the Chief Information Officer. How has their role shifted as everyone else on the board has upped their technological involvement? Emma Roscoe will be with me to answer that and more. I hope you'll join us for the walk. Bye-bye.
Walk in the Cloud.